Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today, my friends at Land Rover of Shreveport have loaned me the 2020 model of the Land Rover Defender. This is the first edition that we're going to take a look at today, but if you want to see my full video featuring the 110 SE, I'll leave the link for that particular model down in the description of the video. And of course, the four-wheel drive Defender has a litany of safety features that I will list on the screen for you. Feel free to pause the video so you can peruse those without missing anything. And of course, a lot of customization as far as features for going off-road. The four-wheel drive version, of course, is very capable in those conditions. You will find a very nice looking front end, the 110 logo here on the hood, a matte finish with the vinyl that is sear on the hood, and you do have some decorative pieces on the sides. Those are not functional vents or anything, just there for looks. And you will find premium day or premium LED headlights and signature daytime running lights. Of course, you do have the sensors here, part of those safety features that I talked about here on not only the front bumper but the rear as well. One of the key components of making the Defender very capable in off-road or rugged situations that you may choose to put it in is found right here under the hood. It's the 3-liter 6-cylinder engine that is actually very potent, putting out 395 horsepower and 406 foot-pounds of torque. The combination is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and estimated gas mileage comes in at 17 miles per gallon in the city and 22 out on the highway. Now, of course, you are going to find nice size fender flares on the front and rear of the Defender, along with fairly large mud flaps, obviously going to be very helpful in off-road situations. You do have power folding side view mirrors, and yes, for those who have asked in the past, there is a blinker in the mirror, something you're going to see on pretty much every car in this day and age. But here's something you won't see, a little something that I find to be just different, not a major issue. But on most vehicles, when you have keyless entry, you can just walk up to the vehicle when somebody who is near has the remote on their person on either side of the vehicle on the front or rear doors. Typically, the button to lock and or unlock the interior, if you wish to use that on the door handles themselves, is on the rear. But both door handles on the front and rear of the Defender, it's right here on the front. Just one of those little features that definitely sets the Defender apart. Of course, you do have a nice rack on top. You can haul a lot of supplies up there. A truly nice size luggage rack. You could put a spare tire up there if you wanted to and tie that down. A lot of different options because of the way that it's built that definitely gives it some stability when compared to more traditional luggage racks on other vehicles. And if you're wondering exactly what this box is on the right-hand side of the Defender, let's open that up. You do have a set of keys here that allow you to do that are separate from the remote. And in here, you can put a lot of different items. Of course, that will fit. You could put some carabiners in there, some tie-downs, whatever you want to do, even a piece of luggage or something that would fit a satchel. I don't know. There's so many different things there. It's kind of a multitasker, as I like to say. If there was one true multitasker on this particular model of Defender, this would definitely be it. And to put it down, basically you're just going to kind of pull down like that. If you would like to tow something with your Land Rover Defender First Edition, you can tow up to 8,201 pounds. Not too terribly bad. And when you're off-road, if you happen to need to change a tire, you do have a full-size spare here located on the rear door, which, by the way, because of the weight of this tire, this isn't a lift gate. It doesn't open up, it opens out. Not terribly heavy or difficult to open. And one thing you're going to notice right here is a little pocket that has this little box in it. And I've had people or seen people in other videos that talk about how that's a toolkit, and that's actually not true. I'll show you exactly what's in here right now. Not difficult to open, but you actually have this little emergency triangle that you put together in the event that you're in an emergency situation and you need to have a reflector to let people know that you are there, whether you are on the side of the road changing a tire, or more than likely it's going to be out off-road somewhere, and if there's someone coming up behind you, of course it would be good to use the triangle to let them know that you are there. So let's talk a little bit about cargo space before we move on. It's going to range depending on whether the middle seats and the third row seats, yes, there are third row seats, be it that they are very, very small, probably more intended for children when you're out on safari. That's why you have the two air conditioning vents back here, and on the right-hand side there is a little knob for controlling the fan speed. But you do have the safari windows. You do have the ability to lower, of course, the rear seats and the middle row seats to maximize your cargo space to as much as 78.8 cubic feet. Not too bad. You're going to also notice that, of course, the rear seat passengers have their own air conditioning vents. There are cup holders on the lower area here, and actually, if you want to use the little bands up here by the air conditioning vents, as best as I can tell, those are for water bottles or whatever you can get to fit in there, but they're going to be held in place when you're out on the rough terrain on safari. Under the floor here, of course, you do have the tools for changing a tire and a tow hook, which hopefully you won't ever need. Okay, one thing I do want to go over here, I mentioned the third row seats. I showed those to you on the screen. How do you get back there? Well, nobody's going to be able to climb over these very well, even with the headrests in their down position. That would be pretty tough to do. There are latches on each side of the 60-40 split folding seats here, and when you pull back on that, you can actually move the seat up and forward. Of course, the front seat is a little bit far forward, or far back, I should say, so we didn't get that as far forward as we could have. And then you can adjust the seats. There is a manual adjustment underneath each side for the 60-40 split. And of course, a very nice design you're going to find in the front or rear and front seats. You have the rear pockets here on the back of the front seats that you can use for storage. You also have the door bins that will hold whatever you can fit in there, even a bottle, a large bottle if you want to put that in there. And you have some adjustments here for the air conditioning, and two more 12-volt power outlets and two more USB ports, and a very nice view through the panoramic sunroof. Okay guys, now that we're here in the front seat, you have the nice modern looking instrument cluster. You can go through a lot of different settings with the steering wheel mounted controls. You can actually customize those a little bit too. Kind of interesting how you can move things around, but a little bit different from a lot of what we've seen in other vehicles. Now, the one thing that I think a lot of vehicles should have that many don't, it's not unusual in the Land Rover family of vehicles, but it's on all four doors, there is a safety indicator as to whether or not there is traffic approaching, a pedestrian, a cyclist, something like that. It's going to give you a warning and let you know if you should or should not go ahead and open your door all the way. That way you can avoid somebody getting injured or maybe serious damage to your Defender. Definitely not something you'll want to deal with. And of course, you've got some interesting storage right here. You've got your ports for USB, another 12-volt power outlet, cup holders, and one of my favorite features, even though I would love to see the console, the center console, be a little bit bigger as far as the storage area goes, because that way when you're using the cooling function, and there are two different settings for that, I guess that's a high and a low, you can fit whatever you want to fit in there, some snacks, a few bottles of water, whatever you want when you're out on the trail to keep that nice and cool. I actually used that to keep my water cold in my last Defender video because I was outside and it was hot. Of course, I really like the fact that you've got the push button start here, and I like the design of the shifter. Again, that's one of those things I'd like your feedback on, guys. Do you like the design, and do you like the location of the shifter? Would you rather have it further back here? Would you rather have it here on the column? Tell me what you think. And of course, you've got the air conditioning controls here. You can control the volume of the radio here if you want to. And of course, here on the steering wheel, you can turn your safety features off and on. You've got cruise control. Okay, guys, let's run through our infotainment screen here, and I have to say I like the angle of the screen because you're not going to have a lot of trouble with glare because that's sitting at pretty much a 90-degree angle. A lot of nice apps and features here that you can easily go through. Everything that you would basically expect. You've got your player, you've got your favorites, you've got your stations there. And of course, you can go through all the different apps and functionality here. There's a lot there. I'm not going to take time to go through every single little jot and tittle, so to speak, but tell me if you want me to, guys. I'll do a full review or video just on the infotainment screen here in the Defender. And of course, here's something that I really like. When you're in a tight parking spot, this is going to be really helpful to you as far as what's going on with and around the vehicle. And of course, you know, again, this is one of those things that I would call a multitasker. It can help you when you're out on the trail to see what's around you. If you're thinking there's maybe an area you want to avoid, you can easily see what's going on around you. And it's a really nice view, as you can see. Of course, we're just sitting here in the photo booth, so obviously it's not quite as much to look at as it would be otherwise. But of course, you have a lot of features here. You can tune your audio right there. And of course, you can go through a lot of features here with connectivity with the vehicle. Like I said, not going to go through too much here, software updates, but to save time, we'll just maybe do that in another video. But tell me what you want to see, guys, and I'll make that happen for you. Okay, guys, the last time I did a video with a Defender, I did not get the chance to do a test drive, mainly because there was a big rush for me to get it back to the dealership. Somebody wanted to look at it, and kind of like today, it was the only one they had, but this one is sold, so a little bit easier to do this. So we're going to cruise around here just a little bit, a short little test drive, but you know, it's a typical SUV of its size. You get a little bit of body roll through the corners. This isn't a high-performance SUV by any means. But I will say that the handling is good. You get used to the steering and the handling and everything, and you're going to have no problem getting around town, and you'll get used to how fast you can drive it through corners and all that good stuff. One thing I will say that I've noticed driving this today, here, stuff moving around in the back seat, we've got a lot of boxes back there, if you hear that. But one thing I have noticed is that the brake pedal, while you push it, feels really soft. But it's kind of an interesting combination of a soft brake pedal, but at the same time, it's really aggressive. You know, in the way it feels when you push on it, it feels soft, but when you push on it, you can also feel the aggressiveness of the brakes. So kind of an interesting little combination there as I come up to the red light here. I've gotten used to it today because I spent a good bit of time driving the Defender, but I'll tell you what, it's a very interesting experience, but the steering is nice and responsive. You can definitely feel that it's not real tight, but that would definitely be helpful, I would imagine, out on the trails and wherever you might take it. You're not looking for a sports car-like experience. And I don't know that I'm going to get to do it here in the test drive because we're getting close to 5 p.m., so 5 o'clock traffic. I probably won't be able to give you a good acceleration test necessarily because we're almost back to the dealership here. But I'll tell you what, this is definitely a lot of fun to drive. I'm going to see if I can't get up here and give it a little bit of a punch. I don't know how well it will do for you. Well, we've got a car and SUV in front of us, so I'm not going to be able to do that. But I have to say, my overall impressions from having driven this Defender and another that I drove a few weeks ago when I did the 110 SE model, I'm really impressed. It's a lot of fun to drive. It definitely commands attention. And of course, you're not going to have any trouble getting around no matter where you may go. So like I said, guys, that's our quick little test drive, the quickest test drive I think I've ever done here on Vehicle Visionary, but I was literally right across the street from the dealership. So tell me what you think, guys, of the new edition of the Defender. Do you like it? What do you like? What do you not like? What would you like to see in maybe future editions, maybe 2021, 2022? What changes would you like to see? Or what do you think just needs to stay the same? I'm curious to know. And I had a friend who I was talking to at the gym today who said his wife would love to have one of these. I'm very curious to know what she thinks about that. I'm sure we'll talk about that next time we're lifting weights together. I'd like to thank my friends at Land Rover of Shreveport for kindly loaning me their only Defender on the lot right now for the day, which happens to be sold already, but the new owners weren't picking up just yet, so I was able to grab it and make the video today. And of course, I appreciate each and every one of you for being kind enough to take the time to spend a little time with me on Vehicle Visionary today. I look forward to seeing all of you in my next video.